Have you ever been sitting alone, just chilling, not doing anything specific, and then suddenly out of nowhere, a random thought appears in your head? Not one you chose, not one you're building towards, just kind of there. Random, intrusive thought, call it what you want. Now you're sitting there like, why did I just think that? And that's really the part no one talks about. We talk about what we think, we don't talk about where thoughts come from. Because if you're being honest, you don't control every thought, every emotion, every reaction. Sometimes your brain just does something and you feel like you got to deal with it. So tonight, we're not just asking a question, we're pulling something apart. Is my brain me, or is it something I've been living with my whole life and not realizing it? You don't decide your next thought, it just shows up. So if you didn't choose it, why do you believe it? Let's slow this down for a second. There's moments where your brain says something. You immediately go, nah, that's crazy. I wouldn't do something like that, or that's not me. So if that thought came from you, why are you disagreeing with it? Because now we got a problem. There's the voice that says something and the part of you that reacts to it. That's two separate entities making decisions, functions. And we try to ignore this because it's a semi uncomfortable topic. But if you think about it, your brain talks to you, argues with you, reminds you of the things you don't want, and creates scenarios in your head you didn't even ask for. And then you have to respond. So, what is that dynamic? Is that control? Or is that interaction? You ever notice how you can argue with yourself and go back and forth with yourself? Like fully debate something in your head. One side is saying you should do it, the other side says don't do it. Do not do it. And you're just sitting there in the middle, like, what am I doing? But really think about that. Who is arguing and who is listening? Because if you're both sides of it, why does it feel like there's conflict? Why is there conflict? Your brain doesn't just think, it suggests. And those suggestions can be accepted or they can be ignored. That means you're not the suggestion. Your brain is a pattern recognition machine. It's it can predict, okay? It's its own survival system. Your brain's constantly thinking about what can go wrong. Not necessarily what will make you happy. That's not really its job. So when your brain's overthinking and replaying memories and creating anxiety and doubt, it's not necessarily betraying you, it's protecting you. Just aggressively. Your brain runs heavily on old history. And it looks for patterns based on past experiences and decides whether or not it wants to do that again, even if the situation is completely different. That's why you feel nervous in new situations. That's why we anticipate rejection. That's why we hesitate sometimes to move forward, just out of caution. It's just our brain running on old code, so to speak. So if you can hear your thoughts and notice your thoughts and even question your thoughts, then you are not your thoughts. Because the observer and the observed are not the same thing. They can't be. Your thoughts are like notifications or suggestions. And a lot of us treat them like they're facts. There's something inside all of us that watches everything, notices everything, doesn't speak, but it understands. That's you. I feel like that's the real you. That's not the noise and all the thoughts and random suggestions and ideas. That's the real you. You're not the voice saying not to do it or to do it. You're the one listening to that. And I feel like most people might agree with that to a degree. Like it seems that seems reasonable to me. Have you ever just sit and let your brain kind of go and just let it think the random thoughts that it's gonna think and not respond to anything, just kind of let it go? It's weird because it never stops. It never stops. It just keeps going. If you believe that you are your brain, then you're kind of being controlled But if you understand that I experience my brain, I'm not my brain, but I experience my brain. Now you have control because you're creating space between the two. Your brain is powerful, but it's not you. It's a system. It's a tool. It's a survival machine. And for most of our lives, we've been letting our brains run everything. But once you realize you're not the voice, you're the one hearing it, everything changes. You stop reacting and you start choosing. You stop believing everything and you start questioning. And for the first time, you're not inside your mind. You're above it.